Everyone and everything that I ever loved had turned their back on me. My fiance left me. My family dogged me behind my back and to my face. The hospitals dehumanized me. I had exhausted every option, at least at that time in my mind, right? And I was so broken, I had accepted my fate.
This episode of the Recovery Couch is brought to you by Greg Swartz at Remax Victory and Affiliates. Greg brings heart, hustle, and honesty to every deal. Call Greg at 937-477-8975 today and tell him the Recovery Couch sent you. Hey guys, welcome back to the Recovery Couch. This is where we deliver unapologetic, real, faith-based stories and messages covered by the blood of Jesus. This is a space where we speak from the heart. We speak without filters because Psalm 139 verse 4 reminds us that God knows our words before we ever speak them. Romans 5:8 tells us that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. That's why the Recovery Couch exists, to meet people exactly where they are. Because here, we believe, when you offer someone a space to be real, you're also offering them a space to heal.
Yeah, they tried to rape me, bro, and I had to fight my way out of that crack house. It was wild. And the craziest part about this, and I wandered the streets of Linden, down on Weber, Hudson, over by Hiawatha for months in the cold. And this is to emphasize and show how broken I was. I was doing that. I was sleeping in an abandoned garage when it's 20 degrees outside, trying to overdose myself. And I had that beautiful home in east side of Pataska, just sitting there empty because I was broken. Like broken, dude.
Let me ask you this. Why didn't you just go back?
I had given up.
What was going on up here that was like where you were like, I would rather roam these streets in the cold?
Bro, because everyone and everything that I ever loved had turned their back on me. My fiance left me. My family dogged me behind my back and to my face. The hospitals dehumanized me. I had exhausted every option, at least at that time in my mind, right? And I was so broken, I had accepted my fate. I accepted that this was what was going to be the end of me. I accepted it,
So you gave up to the
Gave up.
I don't care at all.
I just want to die.
I'm going to try every dose I get as good as.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I shot up, I'm a pretty muscular guy, man. I work out every day. I don't got a single vein on my hands or arms. Not one. I have a 6-pack, dude. So I should have veins everywhere. I don't got a single vein on my hands or my arms. I destroyed them. They ain't up my track marks. Destroyed them shooting up meth and fentanyl, bro. Meth is like, that came towards the end, bro. Meth is a whole different thing. Oh my God. But, once you get, I think that all of that stuff opens you up to spiritual, demonic oppression, right? I think that especially meth, when I seen it on the streets, dude, like crack, one thing, fentanyl probably makes somebody pass out. Meth, it's always demonic. It's all demonic, but meth is like a different spirit altogether, dude. Like it's always these people spouting off about like demonic stuff or hell or all, like, and it always has to do with meth, bro. And that's so when the meth got introduced and I started shooting up the heroin and the meth together, man, that's when demonic stuff really got crazy. So that's about slightly before I got arrested, which would have been a few months before we ended up into VA. Okay, so this is still on the streets, shooting up. And dude, I think I was possessed. I really do. Because I started hearing voices. I hadn't slept in days, and then I just went on this random spree, stealing people's cars, bro. I stole a car out of the driveway of a bar. Here's the bar, right? This is wild, dude. I'm hearing voices. Okay, so I'm losing my mind. I'm out of touch with reality, dude. I don't know what's real. I don't know what's going on. I have this intense fear, right? And I don't know why. So like that's demons, dude. Like, I'm here, like that's demons, bro. So there's a car at the bar right here. Meth house is over here. Right around the corner, bro. You can walk, hop, skip, and a jump away. You're at the meth house, right? All right, so here the logic. Here I come. Let me steal this car, drive around the corner. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. But anyway, it turns out to be a blessing because I got arrested, right? Cops show up. I get arrested. And, before we started recording, we were talking about, the healing of the inner child. And I read a book. I read two books when I was locked up, man. One of them was Healing Your Inner Child. Profound. Profound, dude. A lot of especially adult men are little boys walking around in men's bodies and have not healed. And I know for my own walk with Messiah and my walk as a man that healing that inner child, that forgiveness, that understanding, that's a necessary part of your development as a disciple, man. Because if you're still a child, you're still on your own milk. You know what I mean? You got to graduate. So that, and that's it's not just reading the word. That's doing the inner work, dude. And that starts for a lot of us in healing our trauma from our childhood. And so that reading that book in jail, which obviously nothing happens by accident. So that was him. Like, now I got your attention, right? Sitting in a jail cell, ain't nobody coming, nobody answering the phone, ain't nobody calling, ain't nobody putting books money on your books. You're in here by yourself. It's just me and you, bro. So you're gonna listen, right? So I read that book, and then obviously I was reading scripture in there, praying, and I read another book, The Body Keeps the Score, and it talked about how when you internalize your trauma, it manifests through your body, causes a physiological reaction, which over time can kill you or make you sick. And I, like, as I had mentioned in my deployment, in '07, that internalization, and so things started to click, bro. And I'm like, okay, like that. He was, the Most High was starting to give me an idea of the source of my dysfunctional behavior and this destructive pattern, and how it had, like, it kind of gave you an idea of my parents and how they transferred down to me. And now I was getting this, like, it was all coming full circle, bro. And like I could understand. And that was obviously him, but that was the start of when my walk with Messiah really got, like, I started taking it seriously. He, like, I had no one else. I had nothing else. My money was gone. My family was gone. My friends were. It was just me and him, man. And that's where it all started. And from jail, the, I should have went to prison. I should have went, two grand theft autos, aggravated burglary. There's some stuff in there, right? And they gave me, the prosecutor was a veteran, so it gave me an opportunity to go to the VA, man. And that's how I ended up in the VA in 2020. And that was the real start of it. And a lot of hard work from there, right? So it's been 6 years, 6 years from since then. About to be, actually, April will be my 6 year mark.
Wow.
Yeah, so about mid-April, April 12th will be about 6 years. And you know, a lot has happened in that time, man. But I spent a lot of time alone in my prayer closet, alone in my house, like years. And I had to, because one of the things that I had in my walk that I had to get over was the fear of being alone and that loneliness, because that loneliness put me in a crack house where I almost got raped. That loneliness put me in the streets, bro. That loneliness, that human interaction when like, and I know it sounds so crazy on the outside, but it's the brokenness that leads a person to that. So that was one of the things that I had to to address. And the cool thing about that is the most high. That's where I got the closest relationship with him. Where we really started to communicate in prayer, where we really started to show me some things in scripture, where he really started to help me work on addressing some of my thoughts, my behaviors, my patterns, my habits, how to rewire the neuroplasticity in my brain so that I would make, over time better decisions and then add to that. And so now I value my alone. So now I don't have enough of it,
Yep. It's crazy, ain't it? It's crazy.
It's like, I got so much going on, which is a blessing, man. Like we said, like in 2020, when I finally got out of the VA and got back to the house, man, I was riding a bicycle. I was riding a bicycle to the gym every day, getting up, riding a bicycle to the gym, dude. And it's been, and it was by myself, and it's just been this slow progression of relationship, of prayer and obedience and faith, man, that have just opened doors for me that I could have never opened by myself, dude. Like having the opportunity to, I volunteer and coach at the YMCA, and having the opportunity to work with kids, to work with the older community. I do chair volleyball on Fridays, bro, with the old people. I'm telling you what, that's so fun.
You love
I
it?
love it, bro. I love it. I do. I love them people, man. I do. Old Mabel, she's a firecracker. But and I was doing a ninja class, with the kids, and now I'm for this month we're doing the flag football has come back up, so getting an opportunity to serve the community in that way. You know what I mean? Being a positive. They call me in on the summer camps for the Veteran Day. That's a cool thing, to come in there. I bring my body armor. I got body armor at the house. I'll bring it in, let them wear it. Like put it on them. So that's cool. And then the champions thing has been really rewarding and beneficial for my walk as well. I have a heart now for people in that out there, dude. Like Newark, over there in Newark, they have a pretty bad homeless and drug addict problem. And I mean everywhere. I mean, it's a pandemic in America, bro. A spiritual one and a real one. But dude, I don't know how many times that I've looked at people in champions and had to fight back tears, because it's like that used to be me, dude. I am you. Like I don't think I'm, now that I'm at where I'm at, that I'm better or smarter or anything. It's just I see them, man, and I want for them what has happened to me in my life. Doctors for over 10 years, dude, doctors told me that I couldn't heal. Be like that forever. Here's a pain pump. Here's some a prescription of Dilaudid. Go home and deal with it. And now, like, weighing 130 pounds, not being able to eat, now I'm as healthy as could be, bro. Like this is the Most High showed me how to cleanse my body, and that's what made a world of a difference. Not just physically, but spiritually. So, like, cleansing my body, there's worms and parasites in your body that we get over time. Cleansing those out made a big difference in my health. Heavy metals, getting those out made a huge difference in my health. Make sure you get your vitamins and minerals, because our food don't really have that kind of stuff. Like, it's lacking, right? And so doing that, exercising every day, and then being in the Word every day, man, it was like mind, body, spirit transformation that took over. It wasn't like poof, you're healed. Like, that's not what happened. It was a commitment, And I remember being in my prayer closet, man, one day, and I was like, dude, I've given my love and my loyalty and my time to all these people and they've never returned it. And it's like, I'm gonna do that to you. I'm gonna give you this love, this loyalty, in this time, and I surrender. I surrender, like everything, man. Like I like find like, hey, I know you probably been waiting on this for a while. But
That's what you're saying to God.
yeah. I know you've been waiting on me for a
Yeah.
while, but all right, I got you. Like I surrender, and ever since I've done that, man, it has been just a radical change. He's put me in places I never thought I would be. He's given me opportunities I've never thought that I would have. He's radically transformed my heart, my mind, you know, not just my health or my finances or the opportunity, to sell my home and go buy one that is beautiful, like a dream come true, especially from where I started. But even having the possibility to be able to do that 6 years ago, I didn't have to riding that bicycle. you know, the opportunity to have a nice truck out there, man, or the opportunity to drive a Corvette like I did last year, like that. And then also to being able to serve while having those blessings, like it's not just like I'm focused all on me, man. I'm trying to serve. I'm trying to help my community. I'm trying to help people that are addicted. I'm trying to show them the same things, that the deliverance that they can have if they make their walk and their relationship a priority. And that's one thing that I've noticed, even here lately, is that the more I focus on that relationship with them, the more things fall away. The more I try to do things on my own and on my own strength, the more I have issues. So that's yeah, man. It's been a blessing.
This episode of the Recovery Couch is brought to you by JB Davis at South Dayton Toyota. For integrity, service, and unbeatable deals, call JB and his team at 513-267-5225 and tell them the Recovery Couch sent you.
That's the thing, at least in my walk, man, that has the revelation that has been the most of a blessing to me is the suffering and the pain and all the things that are hard and hurt and are just miserable, dude. But then knowing that on the back end, if you trust him, he'll use that for good. What the devil meant for evil, God will use for good. And that's it. Men, especially, and I can't speak for women, but I know men, we, our strength and our value and all of that is obtained through suffering, through hardship. And we talked about this earlier. You got men that have never really, and you can tell, like if they've never really been through some things, you can feel it in their spirit, man. And I'm not knocking, I'm not knocking anybody who that's their walk, but you know, I think we're coming into a time here really soon where we're gonna need strong, righteous men again. It's gonna be a tough time, and I think that he's preparing a lot of us, you, me, others, to for what for what that's gonna look like, whatever that means. So it's important to me that for anyone who watches this, man, to take your discipleship seriously, because all this bubble, this matrix, whatever you want to give it, that we live in right now, is not real, and it's going to come to a screeching halt. And the only thing that's going to matter is your relationship with the Messiah, and if you took it seriously or not. You hear it all the time, but unless you know him and you know what's going on, like people just dismiss it. You know what I mean? They're so busy. Like they're distracted. They're busy. And I think that, if there's one message that I want to get out is you got I can tell you till I'm blue in the face, but you got to go do it, man. Like for yourself and for your relationship with him. And if you're a father, like your wife, your kids, your family, your bloodline, and it's even for me, like my bloodline, like there's a lot of accountability and responsibility there, man. You know, like I don't know about you, but I want to serve the King of Kings in the kingdom of heaven, and whatever that looks like. I want, I want to be his disciple, whatever that looks like. You know, like I mean, if you really want me to sell my house and come on, like I will. I don't know like how that pertains to us now, but just the willingness to do that. And like after he's delivered me from, I can't just darkness, dude, like utter darkness. I remember when I got arrested and I was in jail. I was withdrawing bad, dude. And I kept hearing these voices. They were acting like my family members. They were acting like people I knew. I knew, like in my spirit, I knew it wasn't them. Like, and I know this is you're in a jail cell, so you should know that's not them. But like when you're in this hysteria and I think possessed, you you don't know. You can't tell. You can't tell the difference between reality and what's real. You don't know, dude, and it is scary. And I remember, I blacked out, and I think when you black out, this is my opinion, but I think when you black out, I think something else, and like people will get stupid drunk and then they'll black out. I think that's when something else takes over, and it causes you to do things, obviously that go against God. Like that's a lot of people get drunk, black out, and do craziness, right? Or same thing with drugs. When I blacked out in the cell, came back for a second. They were rushing my cell, right? Blacked back out. Oh, well, came back. I was in the truck or in that chair. That chair they strapped.
Strapped you
Yeah,
down.
yeah. They strapped me down, dude. And this was one of the scariest experiences of my life. So I was in my underwear. This is so humiliating, bro. They kept me in there for a whole day covered in feces, scream like this. I know that, and this it's a humiliating thing to talk about, but I'm going to do it anyways. Strapped to this chair, covered in shit, screaming. Here's the thing. Here's how it was. So like I'm in this chair, I'm looking up, and I'm just screaming. I can hear these voices, but I was not in control. So like it was like somebody was driving your car, but you're in the passenger seat, bro. So like something else was screaming. And then I'm hearing these voices at the same time, bro. They left me in there for a whole day like that. And that like unequivocally, like that's the most profound experience that I've ever had with like the demonic, dude. And that like that whole experience happened in jail, and that again it was one of the intense moments where like I'm like pushing me in the direction of taking my walk seriously. Like when you like everybody's rock bottom looks different. I'm pretty sure I went close to the bottom. There might be a little bit further, I don't know, but I was down there pretty far, dude. And so it was a blessing, honestly, to go through, to experience that, to go through that, to it teaches you things about your enemy, because we've got an enemy. It's a spiritual enemy, and it gave me some insight in how they operate and how they affect people and how we are to combat that. You know what I mean? When someone sees a homeless person or a drug addict walking down the street, you shouldn't even be looking at the person. You should be looking at the spirits and the demonic oppression that's surrounding that human being that's put them there. And people can't think spiritual. Well, people can, but a lot of people look at the person, blame the person. And I like we are accountable for our actions, man, but it's just
Paul writes in, what is it, Romans? The battle is not against the flesh and blood, but against the evil spirits of this world.
oh,
That's what the battle's against.
principalities, dominions, things that are hard for us to comprehend, bro. Spiritual forces that have been alive since the creation of everything.
And most people like myself or you that have been on heavy drugs, I think if you make it out and you give your life over to God, and you join forces with him spiritually as opposed to the dark side, I think you start to realize exactly what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
dang, I was possessed. I mean,
Yeah.
the drugs weren't introduced to me as, hey, try this and you'll be homeless and addicted. It was like a beautiful woman in a red dress,
Yeah.
and it felt good,
Mm-hmm.
but then by the end of it, it's like the devil was sitting there laughing, like, you sick, sorry piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's, he didn't care that how bad it got for me.
Right.
He knew that's where he wanted me.
I think them spirits. I think they feed off of that. They feed off of negative emotions, pain, suffering. You know, it that movie Nefarious, man, where they interview that guy in jail. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't.
Oh my gosh! So it's supposedly they're interviewing this man is like demon possessed, and he's talking to the guy, and he wants him to write a book, and it's about the opposite sides view on what's going on with Christ and everything else, and their rebellion and their perspective. He wants to write a book, and when he said something that was profound, dude, was it's all of us versus all of you. And that demon said that to the man. The demon was talking to a human and said that. And it made that really made me realize, like, because, they put the truth out there in movies and predictive programming and all that other stuff. It just made me realize, man, that, like, as soldiers, we're soldiers and we're in a war. It might be a different type of war, but irregardless, you can't just put your head in the sand. We're in a war and we're soldiers. So you can do one of two things, just like any other combat sport. You can become a deadly soldier on this battlefield, or you can become a casualty, and you get to decide. And that's through your discipleship, and that's how you should look at it. I'm not trying to come out on the battlefield and get my butt kicked, bro. I'm not about that. So I got through all that terribleness, real experience on the battlefield, and was able to survive it by the grace of God, because I shouldn't have, right? And then he uses that for us to go back in on that battlefield and bring the rest of them, or as many as we can, up out of that. And that's how you do it, man. Like, right? Like, if you light a match amongst a bunch of matches and you set them all off, I think that, especially as soldiers, as guys who've been through that, we've got other buddies too, all across the nation. And we need to band together, man. Especially now. Especially now, because it's like, dude, again, I'm not gonna get doomsday on us, but we just righteous men need to band together, and we need to stick to the word of God, and we need to really, like, lift each other up, lift each other up and be strong as a body, man.
I love that, Doss. Let me ask you one last question, man. First of all, thanks. That is an incredible testimony, and you tell it well. So,
Thank you.
yeah, for sure. So, for a listener out there, we'll call him Joe. He's fresh out of jail. He's battled addiction. Doesn't have a license. Doesn't have money. Doesn't have a car. He's on probation. What do you tell Joe? How do you encourage him?
Master the monotonous little baby steps, man. you know I heard a colonel say something similar on a motivational thing on YouTube, and it was, if you want to change the world, start with making your bed. And it's overwhelming when you look at every dude, because I was there. I had no car, I had no, like, had everything that I had to and it was one thing at a time, dude. You know, one thing at a time. And if you mess up, you're not automatically starting back at square one. You just push that to the side, keep moving forward, because at that point in their walk, things are overwhelming when you look at the bigger picture and all the stuff you got to fix and all the stuff that's messed up. And if you look at it from that perspective, it'll crush you. So it's wake up. For me, man, it was scripture in the gym. Find something that you can put your time in that is beneficial for you, an investment in you. I don't know too many other better ways than to spiritually work out and physically work out, but that's just me. You know what I mean? That was it gave me energy. It held the physiological serotonin levels, all of that. You know what I mean? You wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you go to the gym, you work out, you start your whole day off with a win. Because it's hard. Most people don't want to get up at 5 in the morning and go to the gym before they go work. You know, so master the monotonous, man. One thing at a time, and put your relationship with the Most High as your utmost top priority. You know, seek me first, and all these things will be added on to you. Right? Seek the kingdom of heaven and His righteousness, and all these things will be added on to you. He's telling you, seek me, a relationship with me. I'll fix everything else. But show me you want to have a long committed you know, you don't get in a relationship with somebody and then after it's been going good for a while, you're like, hey, I'm gonna break up with you. I'm gonna go see somebody else. It's the same with God, man. And you don't just go to prayer. This is for me, man. What I've really has really helped me is I go to prayer and talk to Him the way me and you were talking. I don't go in there like, hey, I need this fixed, this fixed, this fixed. I need you to do this. I'll talk to you later. That's the same as somebody calling you on the phone. Hey B, I need $250. All right, thanks, bro. Thanks for looking out. Hey B, I need $250. Thanks for looking out. Hey B, I need not how you doing, not hey you need something. Hey, this is what's going. Not it's a relationship, man. Treat it as such. You know, a valuable one. You know, so that would be my advice, bro.
Hey, I love that. Make your bed. Yeah. There's so much wisdom in that. And we'll just leave it that surface because that's a seed that the listener needs to unpack.
For sure.
Make your bed. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion as much as I did. Yeah, I've known Daus for years now, and there's some things in there that I didn't know, and I'm so grateful that he decided to share. And don't forget, go check out my book. It's available through all book retailers, Barnes and Noble, Amazon. You can buy it through my Square link. Check us out at www.recoverycouch.com. Daus, you got any place they can check you out?
Licking County After Action Network, as well as Champions Network, and those are the two nonprofits that I'm affiliated with and that I work with.
Yeah, go and check those out. These are nonprofit organizations that are just pouring their heart into the community. Wonderful causes. We want to support that. I want to support that. I hope you want to support that. And just remember that you always have a seat right here on the recovery couch.